It is what it was, what you say, let's go. Time to sit down, tell you what we know. Turn on your phone, PC, stereo. Everybody, it's the Freaking Awesome Podcast Show.
Welcome everybody to the Freaking Awesome Podcast. I am your host, Anthony Bowes. Today we are kicking off season 4, and we're doing so in such style because I'm super excited to have today's guest. Today we have Bobby Blue, who is a musician, a songwriter out of the New York area, and has a lot of wonderful things to say. And before, of course, I get into things, Bobby, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you, Anthony, for having me. I've been looking forward to it. It's been a little bit of a time that we spoke about it, but we're here.
Yes, we finally made it here. It was a little bit delayed. Of course, we were going to launch the season a little bit earlier. I know it happens. That's life, right? I mean, they say that's showbiz, but you know what? I'm so glad that you stuck with me and you're still here today because I really, really want to talk about a few things, but including, of course, your new single, Don't Tell Me, which has been absolutely phenomenal. As I mentioned to you before the show, I cannot stop listening to it. There's a couple things I do want to get about it. I ask about it, so we're gonna kind of jump in.
Yeah, please.
I'm gonna sidetrack probably a couple times to ask you little side questions. But so this is a Madonna cover.
Yes.
Now, when I first heard it, I have to tell you, I didn't even know. And I'm a Madonna fan myself, and you know, I'm very kind of across the board on most musics, and I do say that your style is so unique that I didn't even know it was a Madonna cover until I decided, like, oh, I'm gonna watch the video for this because this has got to have a great video. So, and then of course I'd seen in the parentheses that it was a Madonna cover. So then of course I had to go and listen to Madonna's version.
Of course.
And as much as it is a classic and is good, because as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, of course I know this song. You know,
one of my favorites.
It is, but I'm going to admit 100% that I will say yours is better. And
well, thank you very much. Thank
Madonna,
you.
Don't say that you won't come on the show because I said that. But
you can't do that because, like, I love Madonna, but Madonna steals things from people without saying nothing, and then she goes and takes her. So I'm afraid for her to hear it. I just don't hear it. So
it's true. Well, you know, and it's always it's strange because I mean, it's clearly you can see in a lot of your music that you are such a fan of Madonna, and it shows with a lot of things. There's a lot of influence there, which is wonderful because her music again is extremely versatile, like a lot of your songs. I mean, I've listened from everything from like some dance music straight through to this unique feel with Don't Tell Me, and you spanned a lot of different kind of feels and genres through your music.
The life journey as we go. Yes.
Exactly. Did you find that when you first started off, because like I was saying, there's some earlier tracks which are very dance-like, kind of more of like a, in my youth, I started this and was on the scene, or like how did this come about? How did this transcendence of music come along?
Well, as a kid, I always rejected like my parents' music. My mother's from Costa Rica. And my father is from the deep woods of Indiana. Like he's like a Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead. Like he grew up in the woods and so forth. And my mom did the same thing, but just in a different part of the world. And I always rejected all of that music. So growing up, I mean, of course, Madonna, and then like lots of other, bands that I would listen to had electronic elements. And but I also really always, even as a kid, loved rock and roll. I loved like 1950s, 60s rock and roll. Okay. But also like Simon and Garfunkel and those types of things. So, when I first got a chance to start recording my own things, I was really into the idea of mixing the two. And at the time they called it folktronica. And I think it's actually making kind of a comeback. I mean, I meant to make a mid-tempo record, but then I had thought that, well, what would Madonna do with her first single, and so I had a couple of remixes made. They were good, but not great. Okay. And one of them was of a song called In a Song, which is on my first album, Sunshine. And this guy came along and said, I run a tribal house label, and we love this remix that you put together of your song. Can we make more remixes and release it on our label? And I said, sure. I mean, you know, why not? It's another way of getting my stuff out there. And not saying that I don't love dance music and I don't love to dance. It's just, I guess I just don't like current dance music, is the real problem, you know. But so he came along and we got this one mix by a guy named Tim Leterre, and it ran up the Billboard chart, dance chart. It got to like number 15, or it got to number 13, but it was on the charts for 15 weeks, which is kind of a long time for a single. I mean, we didn't get top 10, but and then after that, like a few of my songs were starting to get noticed by DJs and such around the world, and they remixed like several songs from that album. As you can see that at the end of Sunshine, there's like a little DJ set. Where they're all mixed, kind of like all mixed together. But yeah, and the thing is that is what the weird thing about all of that is that that's what captured the audience's ear. That's where I got like a lot of plays, listens, and such. But when my second album came out, which is what I really do, which is like a folky, tronic, psychedelic-y kind of thing, I pretty much lost my audience because they did not expect that from me, and I wanted to be a little bit more forthright and true in what I want to do and what I do and what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do this. So yes. But actually, as I said before, I rejected my parents' music so much, but I don't know. I've been playing guitar off and on since I was 13 years old, but then I really picked it up around when I, in my 20s, and that, just starting to play my music, and I started giving my mom's music a try. Like, let's sing in Spanish. Let's see what this happens. And then boom, I was hooked. I love a pretty voice and an acoustic guitar. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing prettier that you can get. And I always thought, well, remixes can always be done of any kind of song. And it doesn't always have to be a dance remix. It can be like Beck or Bjork or somebody that actually recreates the song in a different kind of perspective. Yes. So I've had a little bit of a journey with that. The dance stuff was really fun. I'm kind of like interested in doing some electronic music now. I don't know why that's all of a sudden become all of a sudden kind of been interested in mine, but I've landed here at Don't Tell Me, and I hope I'm not being too long-winded in answering your question when I say that Don't Tell Me, when I picked up my mother's music, I also picked up my father's music and all of those classic country songs, Hank Williams, Patsy Cline, Loretta Lynn, rest in peace, my dear Patsy, my dear Loretta and Patsy, they're back together again. I'm a big fan of them. And I would say, but it was that Latin and country sound that brought our family together. Marty Robbins. As a kid brought up in a very Costa Rican home in the middle of Indiana, I thought ABBA only sang in Spanish. I didn't know that ABBA sang in multiple languages. I thought that and I didn't know they even sang English until I was 13. So really? That type of a guitar and that kind of twang with that Mexican influence, as well as like some country influence there, always really appealed to me. And I feel that that's where I landed with Don't Tell Me, and I kind of hit it on the head.
For sure. It is a wonderful piece, and like I said, culturally it is beautiful because there's so many different rich sounds from everywhere that's coming on this track, and and then of course your vocals on top of this. I mean, I gotta tell you, when I first played that song, I was not expecting such a high octave of voice about to resonate back at him, and we're talking like, Geddy Lee here, where I'm there's 3 octaves of vocal ranges that are happening in this area. And I was just so blown away that I actually had to go back once I listened to the first track, and I'm like, wait a minute, did I click on the wrong link? Am I on the right? And I was like, oh my God, this is phenomenal. So like, truly a moment, if anybody who's listening now or on the recording afterwards of this show, you really have to check this track out, because it doesn't, just talking about it really doesn't even do it justice. It's one of those moments that you have to listen to it. I do want to mention quickly also the video. So after listening to the of course the live stream, or the stream, then I listened to your live performance of it, and then of course I went over to your video, and I have to ask you, was it intentional with this video? I instantly started thinking of, was this a bit of an homage to your parents? This the video someone seems like very, old country. Here we see a woman of a different cultures kind of joining into the old west, and um, as soon as I was reading a little bit of your bio and stuff, I was just like, this. I kind of wonder if this is a little bit of his parents here.
Actually, no. As much as my dad loves Westerns, I just kind of, that is, I love the Madonna version. I really do. And I love the fact that she kind of like branded it as country, kind of like with that album. Um, and I always saw, and I love the music video. Oh, that is like one of the top, like she makes some great visuals. And I think out of Madonna, like we talk a lot about Madonna, but like, and she has great songs and but like it's the visual that's kind of always inspired me. I mean,
100%, yeah.
So, but sorry, what was the question again?
Oh, it's just in regards to the actual video. I was just wondering where you kind of drew your inspiration on that, because I
just
thought
came into my head, like it needed to be an old Western. It needed to be, but and I found this, and I found this film that was in the public domain, and it's called Hell's Hinges. It's from 1916. Some pretty famous actors in it. Tell me, they work for me for free. We just kind of edited it, but it was a great story that fit the same story. And as I was putting this together last year, September 21, I started doing therapy, and I started finding a lot of like really great ways of like managing like things like the little anxiety, thing and stuff. And it was about like finding ways to love myself. And that's what the story that we edited the movie to a story about that. So the idea in the music video is that he finally, this cowboy, this rootin' tootin' bad cowboy, finally meets somebody who changes his mind about what love is, or what whatever God is to you in your own form, whether you believe or not believe. It is whatever you find in yourself, that light that is good. And he found it, and by the end of the video, he's wanting to nurture that light. And that is kind of like a similar journey to what I had gone through. I think in the past year, coming off of the pandemic, and being isolated was just so very difficult. And I think a lot of us had a lot of things to talk about after that. So once I got myself more balanced, more emotionally balanced, that is definitely something I wanted to say in the video, because every time Madonna sings it live, she always says, "This is a song about love." But it's not a song about like romantic love. Well, I mean, I guess it is. It's not a song about a love between two people. And that's one thing that I always got confused on, but now I know it's that it is a song about love. It's about self-love. Yes. And don't ever tell me to stop. Like, don't waste your breath. I love myself too much to stop, to doing whatever that is that you are doing. Me being a musician and needing to keep going, and keep on going is sometimes really hard. So
yeah, for sure. Now it's interesting because you were mentioning about Madonna and her performance. One thing I always felt about Madonna, over and above her singing, was she was actually more of a performer and not so much a singer until much later on. When she started doing movies, did she actually improve her voice? Yes. But she was truly a showman, that it was all about the performance. And I found, listening to your song, it was like you took that music and you almost flipped it on its head, because it's truly about your singing. Like the sound is so rich and it's so beautiful. And I found that, because this isn't you like you're performing the song, but you're not on the video, right? And that is it. So in this case, it was that opposite, right? It's not so much about the performance as it is your song. And it was just nice. It was just nice to see that flip again. You've taken it, you've made it your own, and in so much that, as I had mentioned it earlier, I didn't even recognize the song at first. So
well, I mean, it's got to be yours. You have to make it yours. I don't I don't really care for covers that sound exactly like the cover, and they do that a lot, and they get
Yeah,
by
a
with it
lot.
because the general public, they want to hear something that they know, and that's probably why they do that. It's really hard to get people turned on to something new. I mean, I appreciate you so much just having me on your show, because that is going to show more people it like people these days put out songs like five at once, even indie artists, and it's like, wait a minute, like I get why Beyonce might do something like that, but like as an independent artist, it took Kate Bush 36 years to get into the masses. So a song doesn't ever like go out. Like, what happens to a song after it's gone up the charts? I don't really pay attention too much to the charts, but this was said to me once. It's just like, what happens after it? It doesn't become like unpopular. It just stops being managed.
That's right.
So you can keep, the thing is, I'm going to keep on with this song. I want this song to be kind of my legend song, even though I do write original songs, and I would like for probably one of my original songs to be more of a legend song, or I probably should. But this song really speaks to me and fits me well. But I'm going to keep saying it's my new song for a long time, because it's going to take a long time to get into people's ears. It just does.
100%. But once it's in, I feel like it's going to stay. I mean, this is now part of my music playlist. It was even, my daughter was saying, like
Please make it part of your playlist.
That's right. It's got to be on my playlist. And so everybody else, I can guarantee, once people start listening to the song, it will get on the playlist. Your downloads. I mean, it's so unique when you're saying about covers. It's true. A lot of people make it sound so much like the original that you're not taking it, you're not making your own. You're just copying someone else, right? Where taking it, making your own is what music is about. It's truly what putting a song about that is yours out.
Yeah.
Because anybody can pick up a guitar, and, well, I shouldn't say anybody, but most musicians can pick up a guitar and they can easily sing someone else's song.
Well, yeah, and that's how you learn. I mean, that's how I started doing the song in the first place. I started doing the original song, but over all of these years, it just kept changing little by little, and this and that. And then I got to work with some different musicians, and they put a spin on it, and then I took it from there, and and such. So it took time to get there. That's the one thing. A song is never finished. Even after recording, it grows and grows and grows as you sing it live, as you play it live. It's always growing. I mean, before Prince died, I mean, Let's Go Crazy didn't even sound like Let's Go Crazy. It sounded like a church gospel and jazz.
That's
you
right.
know?
It's
and
true.
It's like, well, I guess it always had that kind of church gospel-y thing at the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. Like, was it the big speech at the beginning? But it really, I mean, it just keeps growing. So like, I used to like not want to record songs until like years after, which it took me years to record this, and proven well, but but not to worry, it grows and grows and grows. And the more you have videos of it, live videos of it, you have stuff to put on the internet nowadays, and how the internet works. It's like you have to get the song into people's heads, many different means, like chop your video up to 15 seconds, and you've got 4 or 5 different types of live videos, and you work that until you can't work it anymore. And and hopefully, then you work it again, because there's a whole load of people that didn't see it the first time around,
That's right. That's right.
So I'm just going to keep on going.
Like you said, with and with such a good performance, people will hear that, and then there will be remixes, and eventually there might even be someone covering your song. And that's
it's not Madonna.
As long as it's not Madonna claiming it her own. Yeah.
I don't know how much time we really have. Do you want me to play a few lines so people can get an idea?
Yeah, 100%.
I got my guitar right here. I think I can fit it in my little hallway here.
Amazing.
I mean, I didn't know what you had planned, really.
Oh yeah, we'd like to fly by the seat of the pants. I mean, if you have, I never like putting people on the spot, but if you're willing to, that would be wonderful.
I thought, usually people ask me to sing something, so I just had my guitar handy.
Okay.
Don't tell me to stop. Tell the rain not to drop. Tell the wind not to blow. 'Cause you said so. Tell the sun not to shine, not to get up this time. No, let it fall by the way, but Love isn't true, it's just something we do. Tell me everything I'm not, but don't tell me to stop. Don't tell me to stop, please. Don't tell me to stop.
Just beautiful. Absolutely amazing. Wow.
Thank you. The short version.
Yeah, it's just oh man, it's so well done. You never know how things will sound acoustically, and just as amusing. I mean, just as amazing. You've got all these other instruments that are, of course, going on the track, but you on your own to be able to perform it live. Oh,
It's yes. Well, after the pandemic, I have no more band. Everybody kind of went their own ways. They all had kids and everything, and so I had to get back to performing by myself again. Yes, it's like starting all over again. Every day is like starting all over again for a musician. I swear to God. But
definitely, the pandemic.
yeah,
Really things.
I love all the instrumentation, all of that beautiful. I love a fiddle. I love an accordion. I love the instruments that are on there. The classical guitar. That Zach Selazin, who plays guitar on that, is one of the greatest. I can't believe he's not like famous as like one of the most greatest guitar players ever. But he really brings that warmth to the sound of the instrumentation.
Yes, it is amazing, and you know what? Also a testament to your amazing vocals. To again, so many people out there will record, cannot perform live, and that is, we live in this day and age where everything is so manufactured in the music industry that it's almost like the live performance is gone by the wayside. And I've been to many concerts where I've been so disappointed with the live performance, and it's almost as if that performer relies on the crowd to sing the song for them versus them doing it. And everybody knows, all my friends, every family member knows how much I hate live tracks most of the time because it doesn't sound right.
Yes.
So
yeah. Wow, that it does seem like when I go out, when I play out at post pandemic, there are no young people out. There are like people that are like 30s, late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Those are the people that are out. It's like everything is done at home. And I'm a person, I like to get out. I live in New York City, and all these people that live in New York City, they're staying home too. And it's just like, you live in New York City, let's get out.
That's
And it's great to get out. And once you get out again and you see what it's like to be with people and so forth, it might spark you. But I see people resorting, and I honestly I was not a fan of the at-home concerts that were going on during the pandemic. I did a lot of them, but I'm a diva. I need real applause.
Yeah.
So
the energy is completely different as well, right? I mean, it's like anybody who has a craft or is an artist of some point, it's nice to do the piece, it's great to produce, but when you actually get that one-on-one excitement and the appreciation from fans like that, it makes it all worthwhile.
It really does. Like, there is nothing, I mean, as far as since I've been doing this since I was 4 years old, there is nothing like people screaming for you. I mean, as I don't know, as self-absorbent as I've understood through the years that it really is that. It is isn't that what performers do? Performers are kind of like, like famous people or people who need to be a celebrity. They're looking for love outside of what they've seen, what they've gotten so far. And so so you try to get everybody to love you. There's a lot of psychology that goes into it. I mean, I think pursuing this path, but I love being on stage. I love being under the lights. I love a good sound system. When the sound system is good, I'm having a great time.
Good,
so
good.
Yeah, I mean it, and that's another thing you're missing out. When you don't go out, is that you're missing out on the great sound system, the perform. I mean, just everything, the
Yeah,
surprises in the gig, everything.
that's
So
right. Yep.
yeah,
No, I do have to ask you, as a musician yourself. I mean, and again, there's people that toe the line on this, but as a performer, how do you stand on being interactive with your audience, like people who appreciate your work? I know there's a fine line where people seem to love to perform, but they're very private the moment they go off stage. And to me, I never really understood how people want to be social and say hi or talk about their music, and they're just like, Nope," and they turn and they walk away.
it's I am usually, yes, when you get off stage, everybody wants to talk to you.
Mhm.
But the only thing is that so much just happened, and so much, like, and as much as I am out and doing this for and toward everyone, and that I'm also very kind of internalized and doing this myself, and the relationship on stage is so incredible and amazing.
Mhm.
And then you've just exposed, because like as artists, isn't that what we do? I mean, I'm not going to tell you a story about Jack and Jill. I'm going to tell you a story about like how September 21 changed my life, because I started doing things, starting doing better, taking more interest in self-care. So that's really like you're exposing a lot of yourself. So when you get off stage, I usually need a few minutes to
Okay.
like take off my outfit, take off my costume, whatever I have on, and
Mhm.
I just need to sit for just a second, and then I can go out and I can talk to people. But the thing is that I kind of can't do that. I can't, because you have to capture people these days with their attention spans. They're going to love you. I perform twice a month at this cafe in the Lower East Side called the Anyway Cafe, and it's great. I basically I play for tips. I do pretty well. But if you don't go out right after into the audience right after and like get your tips or like talk to people, they're not going to they're not going to follow you. They're not going to talk to you. They're not, you have to be ready, and it's just part of the gig. There are people that will say no, I can't speak right now, but you're kind of gambling with like losing people
Okay.
with that.
Yeah.
At the same time, I also think that the people that really are really going to be real fans, and I'm just now learning this, as like people who really, really, really want to be fans, they're going to search you out.
Mhm.
You
Yep.
can't just go and ask a bunch of people to follow you on Spotify or whatever, because they're not going to be like authentic fans. What I've been doing with this song in particular is that Facebook, when you put something on Facebook, it won't really show a lot of people if you have a link that's going into somewhere else, into the internet, YouTube or something, because they want to keep you on Facebook.
Mhm.
So it's really wait, I kind of lost my train of thought. Well, like train of thought about how I was going to say that. So instead, what I've been doing is I've just been putting the name and the song and the name, and I tell people, if you want to or if you want to find my song, search Bobby Blue Don't Tell Me on your streaming service.
Okay.
And that has turned out so many more authentic plays and fans. And I gained 100 new followers in just a few weeks, and that's never happened. And that was all because if they want the song, if they like it, they're going to go search for it. They don't need a link. They just need a name. And if they're at a show, if they want, they're going to chase you down eventually, or find out from the flyer the next day or something. But
Yeah.
I really would rather play to authentic fans, people who want to hear.
Mhm, mhm. Well, it's actually really nice. I never really thought about it until, of course, you mentioned that. Where I guess I was kind of I don't really understand why performers are like this, but you're true. There is such an emotional exposing of yourself when you're on stage that it can be quite overwhelming. That I never really thought about until now, which is it's quite interesting. So it's good to hear. It makes me a little bit more, I think, understanding when someone even says to me like, "Oh, hey, how come that person's seems so antisocial afterwards?" And now I could be like, now I know why.
Well, there was one show that I was hired to do, and I didn't know what I was hired to do. I used to play at this like brunch place all the time. It was kind of a big hall of a restaurant.
Hmm.
And they have a stage and the whole thing and a lot. And so the manager asked me, he's like, I have a party. It was during Christmas. He's like, I have a party. Would you like to play this party? I'm like, sure. He's like, pays pretty good. Great. He didn't tell me it was going to be the entire restaurant can hold like 600 people. So it was 600
Wow.
people. And though I wish I could say that I've played for 600 people before, I haven't. And they were not only 600 people, they were 600 construction men who are Latin, who had no idea that I do Mexican rancheras and flamenco music. They were going crazy. Like it was like at a concert where you're front stage and everybody's screaming. It was so overwhelming and so crazy. I had no idea that I was going to feel the way I felt afterwards. I was almost scared, like not
Wow.
scared to go out into the audience, but scared afterwards. Like I was like, is this, it was just so jarring, and I'm so happy. I had such a great time, but it is really something to have people just screaming at you like that and buying you things and throwing it, just going crazy and filming you and showing you in Venezuela and Colombia to all their families and everything. Is just nuts.
It's
So
amazing. Like you did.
being on stage it also is a psychological situation.
It is. It is. I mean, you ended up performing like some people can't even pull in most concerts. You end up doing unexpectedly, which is wow. I couldn't even imagine what you must have been feeling.
It was I had no idea it was going to. The one thing that I guess I have to say, I didn't realize, being a queer person and being a queer person in the middle of all of these construction men, I wasn't quite sure really how they were going to take me at first, because I'm very flamboyant. I perform. I'm not like, I just don't. I perform. I have like
Right.
costume changes and everything, like between sets and so forth. I want to give people a full show, and I'm visual. But I didn't know, but they loved it. They were very open and they loved it. And I usually get that. I usually get a very excited audience, and it's very complimentary the way people will just like stop and go, and will sit and watch me for a while. So that's the greatest compliment, when you can just catch somebody who's just walking by and they stop and we're like, so that's nice.
Just amazing. I mean, again, your vocals, totally head turning. The song is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
I have no doubt with your personality that you must put on a fabulous performance. That let me tell you, if I'm ever down visiting friends in New York, I'm going to have to come to a live show, because I imagine it would be phenomenal.
We have a lot of fun. We talk a lot. The audience and I talk a lot, and everybody's pulled into it, and it's just a lot of fun. We find commonalities and so forth. Like I do a song called Wildflowers, which is a cover, and it is a cover of Dolly Parton, Emmylou Harris, and Linda Ronstadt. When they did the album Trio, and it brings us all together, because in New York, so many of us moved here to do dreams, which you could be a writer or want to work in the stock market or whatever, but that song speaks to so many of us. It's because it's about a wildflower and they grow just anywhere, and she wanted to leave her wildflower friends and so forth. So
very, very nice, very cool. Before we head out, would you like to let our audience know where they can find your social media, anything that also where to get the new track?
Oh yeah, absolutely. My name is Bobby Blue. You can if you can't find me on Spotify, which sometimes if you put in Bobby Blue, there is some competition for that name. So you have to put in Bobby Blue, Don't Tell Me, and then go to my profile from there. As far as Instagram, everything else is Bobby Blue Music. Instagram, Bobby Blue Music. Facebook is Bobby Blue Music. And Venmo is Bobby Blue Music. No, I'm teasing. I gave you a little performance.
Yes, that was amazing.
Yes, so that's where you can find me. The song is called Don't Tell Me. You can also look back in the past 3 albums that I have put together, the last one being The Balladeer, which I think is very much evident of where Don't Tell Me came from and its evolution. That was my covers album that is of covers of Spanish classics as well as classic country. And then the album before that is an original album called Getting High, because I dated a guy who became an alcoholic during the relationship, and that whole album is the whole story about that, about the lows and highs of that relationship. And of course, if you want to stomp your foot a little bit, get on the dance floor, listen to Sunshine.
And another little quick shout out for Sunshine. The I'm assuming it is the self-titled track. Sunshine is absolutely fantastic as well. Really,
Oh,
really love that song as well. So it was super fun. So
yes, thank you so much.
definitely.
That should be on the beginning of a movie while they're panning through LA and like boom, you know. Yeah,
100%. Yeah,
yeah.
it's definitely got that energy for sure. Okay, for anybody who's of course on the road and not listening to the live show, we will make sure that we of course post up a picture of Bobby Blue under our guests section, as well as links to his social media and some of the streaming platforms as well, because you have to listen to this song. I highly recommend it. It is absolutely beautiful, and as you may have heard through the show, and if you're just coming in now at the end of the show, go back and watch the live feed again on YouTube and listen to Bobby's small performance of that song. It is just wonderful.
Thank you so much, Anthony, for having me, and I look forward to speaking to you again sometime.
100%. We are trying to cut down the show format a little bit in size to see how things go, but that means 100% we have to have you come back probably in the new year once we get through the holidays, unless of course you do a wonderful holiday performance, and maybe we'll have to hook that up. That might be fun.
If you need a holiday performance, I have the holiday song that brings the whole motherfucking house down.
Okay,
and I don't know if I should have bleeped that.
No, that's okay. We're all good at that.
Okay.
We get to say what we want on this show. So
Okay, good.
but that is
Yes, so
amazing.
just
That is
be
super
ready.
cool. So okay. So
Yeah.
everybody keep an eye out. There might be a Christmas special coming up this year, and we will definitely have to have Bobby Blue as part of that if there is such a wonderful song out there. Again, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in the show. We will be back again next week, and we look forward to seeing everybody. Thanks again.